me, how the hell do you go to working as a plumber, not even a plumber yet, 12 hours a day? Tell us about those early days to who you are today, where you're one of the most, I just saw the other day, I think you're the fifth most recognized athlete on earth at 30 years old.
They must have miscounted. I'd say I'm number one in athletes, personally. Number 5's not me. I'm number 1. It's been just what got me to where I am and where I continue to go and where I will continue to go is an insane work ethic.
Yes.
And it's an insane work ethic that you can only put in that amount of work if you were doing something that you are passionate about. And that's what I have engaged my entire life's work in, things that I am passionate about. Yes. You cannot fully commit to something if you are not passionate about it. So you must look at your surroundings, at the things you are involved in, and ask yourself, are you truly passionate about these things? Do you truly want to put every ounce of your being into these things? And I am blessed, truly blessed by something. I am not sure what it is, but I am blessed that I was able to find my passion, the fight game, the whiskey game, the fashion game, the fitness game.
Yes.
These are my true passions, and I am going down these avenues that these avenues that the fight game has opened up for me. I'm going down them at 100 miles an hour with no brakes and full confidence in what lies ahead, and great things are happening. Yes. So I'm very, very blessed and very motivated still. I'm, like you said, I'm only 30 years of age, Tony. I have gone through times in my young career of lapses in motivation and seeking that energy, but coming into a place like this and receiving an invite from yourself, a powerful man. You are a powerful man. We are all powerful people here, but you use your power not to boss. Like I have been thinking, we should use our power to lead,
yes,
never to boss. And that's what I'm trying to do with my people around, to lead and grow and let's see what the next 30 years will bring, because I've no doubt it will be more amazing historical things.
I'm sure. Wow. Where did the hell does this confidence come from? I mean, tell us about the earliest days. There had to be a time when you didn't have it. And where did it shift? Because I know you, like me, like so many people have taught, you have a process of visualizing and conditioning the mind and training yourself. But tell us what it was like in the early days growing up. What was your life like?
Tony, I'm not supposed to be here. Where I come from, it's it's on my whiskey proper number 12. I come from a place, Dublin 12. It is a hard-working town, a small little suburb. It has its good and it has plenty of bad, but I always like to focus on the good because the good shines through. But where I come from, we're not supposed to climb to these heights. We're told that. It's instilled in us. And I wanted to break that mold and pave the way, open up paths. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm happy and honored for it. And
when did it shift for you, though? Were you always like that? Or was there a stage when you started to say, I'm going to create my fucking life? And when we go to be a plumber, I'm sure, like I've heard you were working 12-hour days, like driving 2 hours one way. Tell us about those humble beginnings that gives nobody knows what you're like today. And then how'd you make that transition, brother? Like driving on them towards them building sites, and I'm just a young kid. I'm a first-year apprentice plumber on a building site. They're the guy that goes to make the tea. They're the guy that goes and gets the copper pipes from the storehouse and carries it up. It's the hard work that's not respected and not admired or not. So I was on them building sites, cold and damp, and I was like looking around at the fully qualified people on the site and their postures not right, and that was not me. I knew I could do something better. I knew I had something in me. I just wasn't sure even what it was. Obviously I was training for the fight game, but no one in Ireland had made it in the fight game. The fight game, an Irishman in the UFC was literally, and I mean literally, laughed at. We were laughed at. I was laughed at when I said we were going to get to the UFC. Myself and my team were going to get to the UFC. Never mind get a win. Never mind even get a win in the UFC. Then win a belt, then win the second belt. I've continually climbed, but I've just used all that fuel that I'm not supposed to do it, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna outwork everyone that says I cannot do it, and that's what I did, and that's how I rose up, and long may it continue. Yes, man. Let's give him a hand for that.
Thank you.
formula for creating? Like, how do you create this shit? How did you do it? Because you were telling me we showed a little video of you when you were just a young kid.
A young boy, my oldest sister. You know, my family is a great family. I have a loving family, my mother, my father, my two sisters. But my lineage, the McGregor lineage, we are bled on the battlefield. You can trace my lineage back to the Highlands where we fought invaders off of our land with our family sword, the claymore. I saw the sword in your office just earlier, and I was wondering where that sword was from. I have my family sword. It's a claymore. It's wrapped in sheepskin, and I have it hanging on the banisters of my stairs just to remind me of where I come from and who I am. We are warriors. We are fighters. So my sister, when I was a young kid at around 15 years of age, unsure where I was going, came to me with a book, The Secret, and preaching the law of attraction. And I was like, stop, get away from me. I'm only a young kid. I didn't care about that. I wanted to just go out and play. You know, I wasn't interested. I was almost laughing at it. But then she kept on me with it, and I eventually watched a movie on it and read some books on it. And then it started to resonate with me, like, to keep positive and have belief in where you're going, and you're able to, you can almost visually create your entire world. No, not almost, you actually can.
Yes.
You can. And then I was like, I'm going to do that, and I will do that. And then that's when I began to practice it. I practice it. We used to drive, my girlfriend, we used to drive to a food place in like a shopping mall in Ireland, and it was a very busy shopping mall. And I would practice like little parts of it. Like when we were driving into the shopping mall, the car park, I would always visualize that the car park space right at the front door would be empty for me, waiting for us to pull up. And sometimes I'd get it and sometimes I wouldn't get it. You know, but when I got it, I'd celebrate it like I just won my double world title. You know, and I kept building on that, and I got better at it, and I became so damn good at it that I was able to go into bouts against undefeated fighters for not defeated for over 10 years, or, you know, people with insane fighting legacies, and I was able to go in front of the world and tell the world, I'm going to knock this man out with this exact shot at this exact time, and I done it back to back to back. And
so you visualize it,
I visualize
it, you feel it, you tell everybody.
I tell everyone. I think that's a very important thing. It's easy for us to keep it all in, but you're not
on the line then.
All in is a term I like to use in my ventures. All in. We've got to be all in on our ventures.
Yeah.
I am all in on my whiskey. I'm all in on my clothing, my fitness regime, the McGregor Fast program. I am all in on the fight game. I just want my worth. You know, there's a lot of politics in the game. The fight game is full of sharks, but I'm the fucking whale. So I want what's mine, and that's what I'm going to get what I deserve.
You originally wanted to be in soccer, I heard, but even then you visualized, I understand.
Well, again, yes. See, I was visualizing before I even knew about it. Obviously, soccer is huge in Ireland and the UK, and it was my first love, most certainly. I used to sneak out of the house late at night, and there used to be a little grass patch by my home, and I would take the football out and play on the grass patch on my own, and I would kick the ball against the wall. And when I kicked the ball against the wall, I would imagine it was a goal, the goal net, and I scored a goal, and I would run off. And I would visualize a screaming arena cheering me on. And they were my first visions of selling out arenas and you know, and doing these type of things. Although it didn't end up in the football game, I ended up in a similar one. So it all worked out, and it was all true visualization. So I was just a young kid with a dream. You know what I mean? I know and sometimes my dreams change, but it was still a kid with a dream and a belief in himself. And for many times I was laughed at and not believed in, but you know what? Nothing external can defeat the internal. The only thing that can take someone down or break you down is internal. Nothing external is strong enough. It's just about making sure your internal dialogue and your internal belief in yourself is strong enough that it can withstand the external. The external is there. You've got to accept it. You've got to embrace it. You've got to understand it and be aware of it. But don't let it seep into your internal dialogue. And I am, as a 30-year-old man, I don't know it all. I'm up and down and growing with this. I'm trying to continue to learn. It's a daily occurrence, not to let that external infiltrate my internal. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, because I have let it infiltrate it at times.
How do you do that? How do you keep it out? What do you do?
I think, it's a daily thing for me. I like constant
do you
internal.
Do you have a set of rituals at all?
I'm figuring out my rituals only yesterday, I was like, every time I wake now, I put on a song. I start every day with a dance.
That's awesome.
And feel myself. Who am I?
Yes.
I know who I am. I am an Irish animal, a proper Irish animal. My career is a career of never been done before. No Irish man has done what I have done. I opened up pathways for my people. We came steaming through the door, thanks to my belief and my hard work. So that's.
Yeah, people said you couldn't master the game with your own people in Ireland. You had to come to America, but you took your own team. You've been loyal to your team.
You know what I done? I brought
the
the game to Ireland. I said I would drag the promotion back. I put my people on. I put my nation on the map. Although we are known as the Fighting Irish, in boxing terms, we have a rich history in boxing, but not in mixed martial arts. True fighting, a full fight. We had zero history, zero impact. We were almost looked down upon. The UK scene had risen up. There was many stars. Of course, the Brazilians, they invented the sport, vale tudo, no holds barred fighting. Then the Americans took it, franchised it into the UFC, and built it up to what it was.
Yeah.
So the Americans and the Brazilians dominated the sport, and then the UK was rising up, and the Irish were just the Irish. Yes. But I knew
more.
Different. No more. Exactly. Exactly. Now my nation's flag is on the UFC belt. They released a new belt because what they do is they're a crafty bunch, the UFC, and I have so much respect for them. I love the company. I love all the people involved. But anytime I dip away, they try and reignite my interest and get me back in there. What they done was I won the 2 belts. The first 2 ever done it. And still the only 2 ever do it unified.
Yes.
There's been interim double champions, but that's not unified double champions. I'm the only unified.
Champ.
The champ, exactly, the OG champ. But what they done was they got rid of those old belts and they created this new belt and they put my flag on the new belt. So they're playing games with me, but I'm playing games back. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Dana's a good friend. He's actually spoken for our group too. So,
but I'm in shape. My body is sore from work. You know what I mean? I have my nutritionist with me. I have my doctor with me. I have my people with me. I am blessed to be able to do that. You know, for so long, like in my mid to late 20s, when I started to acquire wealth and acquire money, I was fascinated with materialistic things. I would buy myself cars, watches. I know I'm speaking about that, a big diamond watch on my bezel. This was actually a gift, but I switched off of that now. It's like I realized I was spending things on material items and not things on myself, on my being, on my fitness, on my health. I've switched that completely. Like I said, my nutritionist travels with me full time. My doctors, my training partners, my coaches. Yeah. I have a full team, and it's all for health, fitness, and peak performance. We've got to be in shape. I think a trait of the successful is to train early, wake up and train early. You've got to be successful, or you've got to be in shape.
Yes.
To be, you've got to be in shape physically to be in shape mentally.
Yes.
They go hand in hand.
Yes.
So I'm putting a lot more time into that, and I actually realized that first when I read it on LeBron James. He spent $1.5 million a year annually on himself, physical therapist, masseuse, nutritionist, trainers, all of that. And you know what? When I seen that, I said, I spent zero. I spent zero. I just, when a camp forms, when a fight forms, I'll gather a team of people. We go into the Vegas desert, lock ourselves away for 10 weeks and do insanity work. If I'm training back at home during camp, I have fighters locked in a hotel room waiting on call to be called and to come and fight me. Yeah. It's an insane game, but it's not all in again. I'll go back to that term. It's halfway in. Mm-hmm. And then you can't be that way, and you certainly cannot be that way in the fight game, but in reality, you can't be that way in any game you're in. If you're in a game, make sure you're in it all the way, all in with it, and then that game will be your game, and that's where I am right now. And I've only kind of taken this philosophy recently. Like I said, I've had dips, lacks of motivation, dips in commitment, and I'm figuring it all out, and I'm feeling good in a great place. And this meeting and this invitation, this is just, because I'm seeking inspiration. I'm always looking for inspiration, looking to learn, looking to grow. And honestly, thank you for this, and I'm grateful for this. And I look forward to continuing this chat. This is our first time here. I love your hat. I look at the Irish. You know what I mean? It's a good hat. Fair play to you, man. But honestly, thank you so. Appreciate it.
You are like, you're yourself completely. But if there's any athlete we could relate you to, it's probably Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Did he have an influence? I had the privilege of getting to know him a bit. He was just unbelievable.
Wow. I saw the book you have in the little,
downstairs,
in the submarine. Yeah. What a place, man. big respect, Tony, man. Honestly, I know your question. We're interviewing me, but I want to interview you as well. Like, your story is insane. Like,
Thank you, brother.
It's crazy how you've risen up, and it's through that positive mind frame, and through
it's the same thing.
through that conviction.
That's right.
Commitment and
Passion,
conviction and
total
passion,
conviction.
and big respect to you.
One of the things I love about you, brother, is number one, like admitting that you've been off your game at times. Like some people just fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So you talk with such authority that some people assume you just bullshit.
Yeah.
But you don't.
Yeah.
Tell me about trash talk. Tell me how you intimidated people, and tell me about, was Ali an influence for you?
Yes, of course. Ali was one of my first heroes in combat sport. I watched documentaries on him. I read books on him.
Yeah.
Even before I actually, here's the funny thing, even before I actually boxed. I've been boxing and fighting my whole life. But even before I engaged in combat sport, I was interested in like the wrestling side of things, which is a lot more show.
Yeah.
And then obviously Muhammad Ali was a different animal because he was doing it for real.
Yeah.
Wrestling's not really for real. It's you know what I mean? But Muhammad Ali was doing it for real. And he was captivating the audience. He was entertaining. And he had passion and conviction. And I was just a young kid watching this. And then what got me into combat sport originally was as I grew older and began venturing outside my home and outside my estate. Again, like I said, Dublin 12, it's a wild out town. You've got to be able to fight. You've got to be able to defend yourself. So when I ventured out, conflict began happening. And I wanted to be prepared for that and be able for that and confident in any situation.
What age did that start happening?
Man, this is like early teens. Like 11, 12.
Were you a tough kid to start with, or did you become a tough kid?
No, you know, I was...
Like, I heard your dad say you came out with fists.
Yeah, I came out with my fist, but I was tough. But I needed to enter combat. Yes, that's false toughness. The tough guy does not last in the real game. You know what I mean? That's false. I look at the tough guys back then.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Yeah.
They're not tough no more.
Yeah.
They ain't tough in their mother's box room. You know what I'm saying? So, I was not necessarily a tough grown up, but I was a hard worker, and I was you know what? I was smart. That's what I was. And wits beat toughness any day of the week.
That's
and
awesome.
Twice on Sunday. So I knew what I needed to do. I needed to learn combat sport. I needed to learn martial arts, gain confidence in surroundings, and then rise up. And that's what I done.
And your psychological warfare, where you torture these motherfuckers. Tell me about that. Did that evolve? Was that a marketing piece for you too, or does it really feel like you penetrate their mind and fuck with them? What is your mindset about?
No,
trash
I simply, coming up, I look at. It's not trash talk to me, although it has in a way become that.
What is it really for you?
I look at the opponent. I look, know yourself to know others. That's a Bruce Lee quote. If you truly know yourself, you can know others. So I know what way I feel. I know what way that man feels. I know what I can say to push his buttons. I know what he's thinking. I know what he's afraid of. I know his worries, and I put them under the spotlight. I put them out there.
Yeah.
I get them thinking about it.
Yes.
I made a Jose Aldo an undefeated champion.
Yes.
The first UFC featherweight champion.
I remember.
He was 28 years of age at the time. I made him feel like he was an old man. But he was 28 years of age. I went in, I told him what shot I was going to knock him out, and I knocked him out with that shot. So
how much of the fight game is psychological? How much of it is physical?
It's all psychological, to be honest. You've got to be able to control your breathing and control your emotions in there. Again, like I said, sometimes I've been up and down on it.
Sure,
sometimes I've riled up too much to it, and I'm only young, Tony. I'm still learning the game, and I don't claim to know it all. But what I do know, I know it damn well, and I'm continuing to learn and continuing to push on, and that's where I'm at now. So
tell us some moments. When did you say, holy fuck, this, what I visualize has become real? Like, in my own life, I know there have been certain moments, right? Give me a couple of moments if I could just...
Right fucking now. Right now, Tony. Oh, my Lord. Right now, I'm out to a back garden. We're in this big, what's this, like a big marquee, a big beach at the back. This is something else. Nice cream carpet on the floor. I'm in a nice pink August McGregor. It's my own line. I know David August, my business partner, has been dressing you for 30 years.
25.
25. He said 30. We say 24. That's insane. 25 years. Myself and David. Now, fashion is a big. I enjoy good clothes. I always think to myself, was
that something you had as a kid, or did you develop that later on? Oh, you did.
Exactly. Again, Dublin 12. We are known to dress well. You know what I mean? We might not have the best money or the best. We can't afford a lot of things, but we always would dress well, and we'd always be clean, and we were proud of that. My people were proud of that.
Yeah.
And I always think back to where my want for money came. What made me interested in money? My original, you know, how did my love for money begin? Or, you know, or what made me want to acquire that?
Yes.
And when I think about it, I wanted to acquire money so I could buy clean, fresh runners.
Wow.
Runners, sneakers.
Wow.
We call them runners back home.
Yeah, sure.
But that's where it began. So fashion was always instilled in me, and I always thought when I'm able to get up and make some money, I'm gonna splash out and buy the finest silks and the finest materials and wear them proudly. And David, I met David a couple of years ago, and you know, the partnership has been amazing. We've linked together now. We have our own line, the August McGregor line. We're on our second drop now, and it's grown really nicely.
Yes.
This is an August McGregor line.
Well, I thought
you know yourself.
Suits and jackets.
I was in your wardrobe as well, just checking it out. We've got you covered if you want, Tony. You know that.
I'll tell you a funny story about David. I remember years ago I lived in Del Mar, California. I owned the Del Mar Castle. It's this castle built in places in Europe. And we had a fire and the house burned down.
Right.
And David's
that's
been
what
selling me
you're saying
clothing for like 10 years. And like, you know, he was always replacing it as you walk
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Right? But literally we burned up like $400,000 worth of clothing. And David comes and he goes, I'm so sorry. Tell me in the fight game, when were the moments in the fight game where you're like, holy shit, man, what I visualize is real? Like, there had to be a couple moments that were the most important to you.
You know, the most important one for me, the most significant moment in my career was when I first tasted UFC gold. It was at UFC 189 in Las Vegas. I was supposed to face the current champion, Jose Aldo, but he pulled out 9 days before the bout with a broken rib. Someone threw a spinning back kick on him and broke his rib. It was more like a bruised rib. 2.5 weeks before my last fight, I threw a front kick at a shooting Moldovan wrestler. So a shooting wrestler is a guy who's shooting in on your legs.
Yeah.
And when he shot and I threw the front kick, I threw it at his belly, and my two toes, the baby toe and the toe next to it, bent back like this and stuck in that position. My doctor, who's here with me now, had to come into the cage, stretch it, and break it back into place. My foot swelled like a balloon. That was 2.5 weeks before the last
fight.
I wanted to compete, and I wanted to get in there. You know, one of the things I'm blessed with, I have many shots in my arsenal. I have many moves. I can box, I can kick.
Yeah.
I have many different weapons in my arsenal. So that's a blessing and a curse. A blessing for the obvious. I can throw many moves. I can stifle an opponent. A curse because if I face a serious injury where I probably should have just settled it out and reset the match to a later date.
Tell me about the last fight with Khabib, because I'm curious, were you prepared for that approach? Were you able to fight your fight? Tell me what you thought was different about that fight. I was there, by the way.
Yes.
He literally jumped right in front of us.
Yes.
Literally a foot in
Well, at
front
the end of
you
the day,
in front
I
of the crowd.
landed the final blow of the night right on his brother's eye socket. So at the end of the day, although the match didn't go my way, the fight went my way. And trust me when I tell you, Tony, this war is not over. If this fight does not happen again, if it does not get reset, it's on them. They're running away. I'm here for the fight and here for the rematch. I know the errors. I know, like I said, the lapses in commitment that I've had in that bout. I know my mindset. There was a lot of external things. Obviously, the injury. The injury itself led me to I had to half my work. I couldn't road run anymore.
You weren't as fully prepared.
My weight was too high. So when you're cutting weight, if I can't get my weight down because of injuries or whatnot, I have a more intense weight cut. So I was severely dehydrated. I didn't sleep for 48 hours before the weight cut.
Wow.
But these are all just nonsensical excuses that I don't give a fuck about. I don't give a shit. That's why I walked in there, hands down, ding, 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 and walked forward to him. And he went running away around the cage.
Yeah.
He got lucky with that overhand right, dropped me. Well, didn't really drop me. I landed on the hand, but I kept my vision. My vision was clear. Backed away, jumped up, landed shots back. And then we engaged in a fist fight, and he took me down again. After landing such a significant shot, let's fight now. Instead, he was afraid and grabs a hold of the leg. But my whole approach in that camp, the injuries, the non-commitment.
Were you trying to...
Even the game plan, the tactics, I attack. I am an attacker.
Yes.
And my attack defends. But in this camp, for some reason, the entire focus was defense.
That's what I heard.
So I was like, every round we would start in the training, I would have my back against the fence. I would have my back on the floor. And I would always put myself in a vulnerable position. And I became, throughout, as the camp went on, I just became defensive. But that's never been what I do. It's like, what? Like, it irritates me to this day because, you know, the training partners that I trained with heavy people, 90 plus kilos. Like I told you, that Moldovan wrestler I broke my foot is like a horse.
Yes.
He's literally like a fucking human horse.
Yes.
And then I've got another an American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion that trains with me. He was like 200 pounds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're big boys. But I was always on the defensive with them. And since the fight, I've gone back to train with them and went with my internal dialogue, not the external dialogue. The dialogue of, I can't grapple with this man because he's a Russian Sambo guy and he's wrestled bears since he's a kid and all this bullshit. That's external. I let the external infiltrate my internal, and it filtered into the fight. But after the bout, I went back and trained with these people and attacked, and I mauled them. So I'm just here waiting to continue to go and see where we can get with this situation with the UFC, and see, can we get this fight again, and let's go again. And that's where my...
So because you wrote the other day on Twitter, it was a couple days ago that you were retiring, and so bottom line is you're retiring unless they give you your terms. Is that what it is?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Like
fair
that.
is fair.
And you can do that. You're enough of a brand to do it, brother. You're also fucking strategic. Tell us how you made the deal to fight Money Mayweather. I mean, you taunted his ass. How'd you pull that off? And tell me what your thinking was about it to start with. Why'd you want to do it? What was your mindset? I mean, what, $85 million in a fight?
Give or take. We'll add a little few more on that, but give or take. Look, the competitive aspect of it. A new sport, the greatest of all time under that rule set. Again, more external doubt. I love it. Give it to me. Give me all that doubt. Tell me I can't do something. Tell me I'm not gonna cross over and make that jump into a completely new sport. Not only against some random guy, against the damn best.
Yes.
So it was just my competitive nature. Of course, the financial benefits and the notoriety was great.
Sure.
And to
But how did you get him to do it? Because it was your idea, right?
Well, we just continued to poke at it, and it just happened, It happened naturally. I went in on his terms. I fought him under his rules. Originally, the promise was, I'll fight him his game. He fights me my game.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of him since. I haven't heard from him since. So we'll see what happens. But I would love another go in the boxing arena. We spoke briefly about it outside. Floyd Mayweather is known for his Philly shell defensive style of fighting. He has his right arm tucked in, his left. Sorry, he's an orthodox, so it's the opposite. But he has one arm tucked in at his belly and one arm kept up by his ear, and he uses his shoulder to deflect shots. He's a back-footed fighter. He fights on the back foot. That's what I prepared for, because that's all I had seen of him. My sparring partners were fighters on the back foot, fighters defensive, leaning against the ropes. And then when I went into the fight in the early rounds, I was whooping him in the early rounds. It was actually, I went back to my corner after the first round and said, this is easy. I literally said that to my corner man, this is easy. And then he had to switch up his style. Now you've got to respect that, because that's what a crafty veteran can do. He can switch up his style. He switched it to that old Mexican boxing style. Yeah. The Mexican boxing style is where you put your elbows in tight. This knuckle, you put it just above the forehead and connect it and walk forward with heavy pressure. He'd never fought like that in his entire career, but he was forced to fight that way because he was getting beaten when he was fighting his old way. And the approach caught me off guard. I was not prepared for it. I was not used to it. And he walked me down and ended up getting the stoppage. The referee, I felt, could have let the fight go. I would have liked to see the end of the round, get my breathing back, get a little bit more comfortable. But I know he's not going to come into my game, but I would love to rematch him under boxing rules again and have that knowledge and have my sparring partners come forward with that style also and see where we go. And I believe I would win. Actually, there I go again with a fake humbleness. I know I would win. That's
fucking awesome. Well, it was your longest fight of your career too, right? I mean, you were in incredible shape.
Yeah, 22 minutes it was. So that was another focus on the camp, to go from 5-minute rounds, which is 25 minutes, to 12 3-minute rounds, which is 36 minutes. Yeah. Quite a big jump.
Yeah.
So my entire camp was almost to switch my time and my energy and how to develop more stamina and to go. And, we didn't get there in the end. I had a 10-week period, and that brings me back to that all in. And that before the Floyd fight, I was a double-weight world champion. I'd done it in the fight in mixed martial arts. I had done it. I wasn't as committed as I could have been. I didn't have my team around me. I didn't have my nutritionists, my coaches, my sparring partners. And then the fight got made. The fight was 10 weeks out. So now I had 10 weeks to adjust from 5-minute rounds to 12 3-minute rounds.
Wow.
But again, thankfully I have my McGregor Fast program that we have. I truly believe this in this program. It has got the shape I got in that 10 weeks on that program was insane. It was phenomenal shape. And it was one of the reasons why I got to that 10th round, under that pressure and under that that new experience, an experience that I had not felt before. So I'm very confident now, and my engine is keep building. As long as I keep on it and try and not slip and keep motivated. I think like if your lack of commitment is almost an insult to the people who believe in you, and that's what I'm trying to tell myself. I said, there's people who believe in me, so this is what I'm telling myself right now, today. There's people that believe in me, and me having this half commitment, it's going against it.
It's not who the fuck you are.
It's not who the fuck I am. It's not what my people. It's not what the people who believe in me deserve. And I want to give back to the people who believe in me and give them that belief, and prove that belief correct.
If it's true, you say, I'm willing to fucking die in that arena. Is that really your mindset?
Yes, it has to be. It has to be. I have seen a man die in this game. I was ringside. I cornered a man who killed a man. I cornered a man who killed a man on Irish soil. The only death in mixed martial arts history in Ireland. It was everywhere. And a couple of days after that, the UFC wanted me to fly all over the United States of America to promote the next bout. And I was like, I can't do this. I need to get away, and just my head needs to be in the correct spot. It's a ruthless game. You have to be willing, because you can go in there, and when you come out, you're a different person. If I could describe it to people, it's like entering a car crash. You're going into a car crash. The shins are bare. The feet are bare. You can strike with the elbows, the knees. It's a vicious game, and you've got to be fully committed, and you've got to be willing to go all the way. And that's what I am, and that's what I have been. And that's
a fucking gladiator.
I make correct decisions even in there, even in defeat. I know when it's if there is an out and it's time to get out. I know when to live to fight another day.
Yes.
So you have to be intelligent in there as well. Otherwise, you won't live to fight another day. Yeah. And that's what happened in my last bout. It did not go my way, but then the fight broke out afterwards. I bounced back in.
So tell us about that, because it all happened so fast. It literally happened right in front of me.
The fight was done. The match was done. He climbed over the fence and jumped into the crowd to make a bit of noise. But as soon as he jumped into the crowd, he cowered away. Yeah. I like to call it scurried away, because they're little rats they are. You know, be honest. He scurried away. And I give my respect. Congrats, you won the match. Let's see what happens next time. I'm confident we'll get it again. Let's go again. Humble in defeat. I am humble in victory or defeat, no matter what. It's a sport at the end of the day. A gruesome sport, but it's a sport. So I respected. I was defeated on the night. He jumped in and caused this chaos and went to attack, but really it was just.
What was he trying to do?
I don't know exactly. He was trying to just hide away when he jumped in, so he didn't really do anything. But I saw this take place. I got up off the ground and said, "Okay, now I'm back in the mix." Jumped on top of the cage. As I jumped on top of the cage, his brother came sprinting across and jumped up on top of the cage also to climb in and help him and join the fight. I seen him there. It was like a Christmas present. He was right there. I just smacked him right in the eye socket. And we started fighting on top of the cage. It got broken up. We ended up in the cage, and he was trying to get past the security, and I was just kind of watching everything. So I'm very self-defense minded. I have been through growing up, and I know where my entrances and my exits are. I'm very aware of my surroundings. So when the fight was breaking out, and I knew there was people in and out, that there was a lot of rogue people that I wasn't aware who's with him, who's with security, who's who.
Yeah.
So I backed myself up against the cage wall where I thought I was good. And what happened was two of his teammates ran and jumped over right behind me. And for me, with my mindset, it was fascinating for me to watch that back, because I got to a safe place. I was good. I got to a place where I was aware and I could see any oncoming threat and deal with it. They came right over my back. Wow. Right over my back. But one of them, the first one, the Chechen man, ran in front of me and went over to the brother that got smacked and was like, "What happened?" I don't know what he was saying. But then he turned back and saw me. But I'd already saw him. So as he turned back, boom, I smacked him. He wobbled. And as I smacked him and rocked him, another one jumped in from over the back. And he sly hooked me from the side.
That's what I saw.
And then I covered up. That got separated. And then the final one was the original brother who was on top of the cage. He broke free from the security, ran at 100 miles an hour towards me. He threw a right hand. As he threw the right hand, I threw a left hand. Boom. And there's an aerial image of the right hand just whipping by my face and my left hand just landing flush down.